What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Struggle to Strength podcast, your source for real-life application on how to turn your struggles into strengths in all things mind, muscle, and money. I am your host, Josh Levine, and I am joined here by my longtime friend and my co-host, Travis Hatch. And today, we have Alex Machuca, serial entrepreneur and CEO of Lyncrest Media, a digital marketing agency born at the beginning of the pandemic, only 11 months ago, that was bootstrapped, and get this, has already scaled to $500,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's just ridiculous. Yeah. Especially from bootstrapped. Dude, Alex just gets it, okay? He shares some really cool stories, tons of valuable takeaways, including how to work on your business rather than in your business. Brain explosion. Travis and I were taking notes throughout the whole app, so we highly recommend you guys have your notepads ready. Before we get into it, we ask that if you love this episode, please give us 5 stars on Apple or a follow on Spotify. Share us on your socials. You can find me at Josh Levine Fitness, Travis at Travis Hawks Media. Links are in the show notes. Don't forget, you can also follow the podcast on Instagram. Tons of valuable clips on there. Go check it out. Share them to your stories. We love you guys. Find it at Struggle 2 Strength Pod. 2 is in the number 2. That's it, y'all. Get your notepads ready. Alex dropped some bombs on us in here. We'll see you inside.
You guys are big MMA fans or even know what the heck I'm talking about.
I am. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So when Izzy fought Yoel, our buddy Frank Hickman is Izzy's wrestling coach. So we all accompanied them to Vegas to that fight. And that's where I met Adi, and we kept a relationship after that. So when I found out they were coming to town, I hit him up and said, hey, give me a call when you get to town. So he's like, actually, we're looking for places to like throw an after party. If you know of any. And I was like, yeah, of course I do. I live here. So, we're hosting the after party for Izzy and Leon Edwards at one of the nightclubs after the fight. We're all going to the fight. We got like floor seats. And then after the fight, we're going to go with the fighters to the after party. So pretty pumped about that.
That's sick.
Big UFC fan.
That's super sick.
That's going to be awesome, man. How'd you originally get in touch with these guys?
So just kind of like by chance. So my old roommate, his buddy is the wrestling coach for Israel Adesanya. So a bunch of them were planning a trip to Vegas, and I was like, I'm coming. So I went, and then when I went, me and Adi hit it off, and we just hung out all weekend. And then at that point, we kept in touch, and I've done a few things for him, and he's done a few things for me from a like a business standpoint, putting him in touch with people and things like that. So we have a relationship, and obviously when they come to my town, we're always going to meet up.
That's really cool.
That's awesome.
So my question is like, how established were you when you met these guys? Because something that I think Travis and I have talked about a lot is like not talking ourselves out of the rooms we were invited to, kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
Where were you at in your business? Because now, obviously, I've read about Lincrest. I'm now getting Facebook ads on Lincrest, so thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
he's good.
Good job. Good. Yeah, you know what you're doing.
Yeah. So I guess the answer to that would be, to answer your question, when I met Adi, nothing.
Really?
Yeah, no.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was working with this other company, raising money for them. And it's funny, we were there with Israel Adesanya. We were there with Alex Volkanovski. He was hanging out with us too, like all these fighters. And, all my friends, they look up to the fighters. I don't look up to the fighters. I look up to Adi, who's the entrepreneur behind the fighters. That's who I look up to. So, when we met up, I don't know, I guess we just hit it off. I kind of like treat him like everybody else, but obviously, we'll talk a little business. He asked me what I do and kind of went in depth about that, we just started talking business, and, I think I can I'm relatable as far as from an entrepreneurial standpoint. I've always been very entrepreneurial. I've always, kind of known that, I wanted to kind of run my own business. So, talking to him, being able to talk to him about high level things and just asking, questions, but we got along great. I mean, and I hope he watches this, he asked me for my number, not the other way around. So, I was pretty pumped when he did though. And, he's been a great guy to me, super nice guy. Just an amazing, like, human. So, we got along great, and I kind of gravitated towards him rather than gravitating towards the fighters like everybody else.
That's cool. That's valuable. And everybody has their own mentors, of course.
Right. I don't know if he's a mentor. Kind of. I wish he was. But, you know, more of just like a friend that I could call up sometimes. You know, that's really our relationship. He's always been super, super humble, super nice to me. You know, wish me a happy birthday, you know, Merry Christmas, stuff like that. Hope the family's doing well.
Hell yeah. So this was pre-Lincrest.
Pre-Lincrest, that's right.
When did you start Lincrest?
So I started Lincrest. Technically, I would say I started Lincrest a year and a half ago, but from when we got our first clients, about 11 months ago. Within 11 months, just to kind of give you kind of like our structure, or, you know, our where we've come, you know, I believe, and I think I have a lot of data to back this up. We're one of the fastest lead generation companies in the entire country. I used to just say that just in the mortgage industry. But now I think it's almost the entire country. We already qualify for the Inc. 5000. But the only thing that's stopping us is we haven't been in business for 2 years. So in my first 90 days from my first sale, we scaled to 50K a month. Within 8 months, we scaled to 100K a month, and we're 11 months in. We're at about $500,000 a month in revenue.
Damn.
We have over 130 clients, and you know, it's pretty fast come up. I know the big guys in our space and digital marketing is like Alex Hermosi and Joel Kaplan. Those guys, they do big numbers, and they're known for that. But if you look at growth rate, we crush them.
That's pretty wild, man. That's fast. That's like, I mean, Travis and I are building businesses. We run into some growing pains. How do you deal with that on such a high level?
So here's what I always stress so we have probably about 30 plus employees, probably about 35 now. Mm-hmm. And I told them all the same thing. Hey, we didn't scale from $0 to $500,000 a month by me working in the business. It's working on the business, right? You never want to work in the business. You want to work on the business. And, you know, when I was at like 0 to 10K a month, a big problem that I had was I had so much trouble letting go of things and trusting other people to handle those issues, right? So being able to delegate and automate all the tedious and monotonous tasks that you have to do. If you could find somebody to be, you know, 70% as effective as you, that's a win. Mm-hmm. They'll learn the other 30%, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, what I tell my guys is like, so for example, my COO, Joe, he's a whiz. He's one of the, as far from a software perspective, he's just like the best of the best, right? And I tell him all the time, hey, I need you to teach this person this. And you know, let's say like a month later, you know, I'll say, hey, did you teach him that? He's like, no. Why didn't you teach him that? Well, it's just easier for me to do it. It's like, all right, well, now I have to put things into perspective for you. Like, do you think it's easier to do it like 1,000 times in a row? Or is it easier to teach him and take it off your plate? Like, you're not going to be able to take that off your plate. So, you know, teaching my guys that it's okay to let go and trust other people to handle those things. All you got to do is record a Loom video and a monkey could do it, you know? So I've had trouble doing that. And my employees also have trouble doing that. So I have to like, let them know like, hey, it's going to be okay if you let it go. You know, there's going to be mistakes, but being able to delegate, I'm delegating to you guys. I need you guys to delegate to other people so you can be working on the business and not in the business. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to help you scale really, really fast.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a hard thing to do, especially at first. I remember, you know, like making your first hires, you're like, oh, but this is your baby. Like, you want to do it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
That is hard to do. And now you've got 30 something employees who are all under that same ideology that, you know, they're working on the business. That no wonder you're growing so fast. Yeah.
Right. Just trying to establish that culture. Like, hey, listen, I don't, our clients, they don't pay us for time and effort. They pay us for results. So I'm not going to pay you for time and effort. I need to pay you for results. Mm-hmm. There's a really, in the corporate world, there's a really negative stigma around working smarter, making your job easier. Like if I had a 9-to-5 job, I would take part of my salary and pay a VA to do a lot of the tasks so I could be more productive. Mm-hmm. And people don't do that, which is crazy to me. They're just not, you know, they're not in that world, right? They're just, I got to do my work. You know, they put a value on the amount of hours you put in, when in the reality is your client never gives a crap about how many hours you put in or how much effort you're putting in. All they care about is the results. So we practice that same thing across the organization. Listen, I'm not paying you for time and effort. I'm paying you for results. Let me know if you need an assistant. Let me know if you need a VA. I'll gladly pay that person to make you more effective at your job.
Mm-hmm. Well, that being said, a lot of these people that we're talking about that work 9-to-5 jobs, they work 9-to-5 jobs because they're not entrepreneurs. They don't think like you. They don't think like us. So sure. they don't think in that way. And so, yeah, they do as they're told and they execute. They're also probably only working an actual 2 or 3 hours a day. Like actually getting work done, not on Google, not on Facebook, not eating lunch, not going for walks, not in bullshit meetings.
Right.
Yeah. If you're in an office, I feel like
you're not working.
I'm pretty sure that was, they say they work like 2 to 4 hours a day on average.
And what's incentivizing them to work, right? They got to clock in or clock out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like for me, I try and give positive reinforcement. So, one of our developers, he's building out a new data system that extracts all the data from the CRM that we use and puts it into an Excel sheet that's color coordinated so we can track our clients, how well they're pacing towards their goal, towards their quota and their deliverables. And, I'm not going to say, hey, finish this by this time or you're going to get in trouble. That's not what we do. I said, if you finish this by Wednesday, I'll give you $1,000 cash. Yeah. That's the difference, right? Positive reinforcement, giving them rewards, because him completing that is worth way more than $1,000 to me. Right.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Things like that, being able to give spiffs and bonuses, I try and do that often to keep people invigorated.
To actually motivate people. And I'm sure that's part of the people that are drawn to work for you are people that are motivated by those things.
Right. And I'd say the best part about it, and listen, of all the things that we've accomplished, the thing that I'm most proud of is our team making the right hires, hiring the right type of people. I get text messages late at night from my employees saying like, so grateful for this opportunity, man. I love my job. Because I'm always constantly asking them, what can I do to make your life easier? Is there anything that you need from me to make this more enjoyable for you? I'm constantly asking that question. So as a result, it's nice to, get those text messages, and fairly often I'll receive those text messages like, hey, awesome day today. So excited. And I know that, if I was working for somebody else, I most likely would not be sending those texts.
Yeah. For sure. And I mean, obviously you've kept in good touch with your employees. Do you feel like as the company starts to grow, because of course you're going to keep on growing it sounds like, do you feel like are you worried at all about losing touch with your client, with your customers?
Yes.
Not your customers, your employees. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. 100%. One of my employees the other day, he literally said, what did he say? He goes, you barely say hi to me. You just walk right by me like I don't exist.
Oh no. You're busy as fuck.
Oh no. I never want to do that. So now I make it a point to, every time I see him, I'll go give him a hug, just let him know that I know he's there and I appreciate the work he's doing. So, it's hard to juggle all of those things because you're getting pulled in so many directions. Mm-hmm. So it's different, for example, right now we have 130 clients. I used to talk to every client, right? The clients, you guys saw the ads, they see me in the ad, they want to talk to me. They want to, and I can't talk to everybody.
You can't do 130 calls in a day.
No.
If you look at our Google reviews, there's one bad review. Okay. And the bad review is from a guy who didn't even use our service. He had got on a demo with one of our salespeople and demanded to speak to me to get reassurances. I wasn't available. So he gave us a bad review saying that I don't take the time to speak to clients and stuff like that. I was like, oh my God. And he didn't even have our service.
Dude, that's tough. I've had a client do that. He wanted to meet up with me just to talk. And I was like, dude, I got like 70 of you guys. If you want to come in for a session. The thing is,
he wasn't even a client yet.
That's the most unbelievable part of this.
The one bad review, the guy's not even a client.
Did he say he wasn't a client in the review?
Yeah, and we leave it up there just so any logical person who reads it will be like, yeah, this guy's crazy.
That's like the client version of like people writing nasty comments on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
how are you angry about something that has nothing to do with you?
I watch some of the, because people will write stuff on the ads,
Oh yeah, I bet.
So funny because it's like they say things that are, one, a complete lie. Two, there's no way for them to corroborate those facts, right? So what they say is not backed up by any data, anything. It's just like, for example, we offer 100 leads a month and 30 appointments. Oh, bull crap. Like they're like, oh, this doesn't work. This is a lie. It's like, you don't know anything about us. You haven't even gotten a demo yet. So, and they're already making judgment. So you're always going to get people like that. I actually enjoy looking at those ads. Some of them, I laugh. Some of them are like personal attacks. They don't even know me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but I thoroughly enjoy those. You just kind of got to let those roll. And if you're not getting those type of comments, you're probably not doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, that's probably true. Something I wanted to ask you about. So yeah, you offer, what did you say, 100 leads a month, 30 phone calls guaranteed. Right. And this is strictly real estate.
So it's mortgage, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, basically, right. So essentially, we work with mortgage brokers nationwide. We got about 130 clients nationwide. When I first started out, and the thing about this space, and I've always, I've learned under the tutelage of like guys like Richard Brock. He had the #1 performing stock in 2004, kind of taught me about the blue ocean strategy, right? You identify a gap in the marketplace and attack that. So, what I realized is lead generation in the mortgage industry is very primitive. It's almost like they're living in the medieval times. They sell you a name and a phone number and say, hey, good luck, go cold call these leads, right? Working in a call center since I was 16, I know that, calling is a really, really tough part of the job. And it gets overlooked by these lead generation companies. They don't implement any, they say, here are these leads, you go follow up with them. And then they hope that the mortgage broker will be successful enough to stay with them. The only problem is, these mortgage brokers, they're doing a million different things. Some of them are lazy. You can't rely on them to make the phone calls, right? So you kind of got to hold their hand. And I figured, well, what if we're making the calls for them, right? These mortgage brokers are making about 100 calls a day. If we take that over for them, we are completely freeing up their day, right? They're only going to be speaking to people that matter. So we've evolved into that, setting appointments. And then the other thing that we figured out how to do is we realized, and I'm always taking feedback from our clients. So one of the things were, hey, a lot of the leads that we get, they're just not eligible. They're not credit eligible to purchase a home. Well, I figured out a way to disqualify all the people who have bad credit. So they're only speaking to people who are credit eligible. Right. And that doubled our cost in ad spend, but it increased our service delivery and retention. Right. So a lot of these lead generation companies in the mortgage industry, most of them are, nice kids who took a course and they're working from home. We have an office here in Tempe, but a lot of the people who do that, and hey, there's nothing wrong with working from home, but they're not necessarily, and I started out that way. Right. So I can't hate on it. But they're not well established. And, the people that take these courses to become digital marketers, the problem is that these courses teach a fundamental philosophy that is wrong. They say, don't fail with your money, fail with other people's money, right? And as a result, you get a bunch of people that try and get into lead generation and fail with other people's money. And that gives lead generation a bad name in the mortgage industry, right? So, we try and demonstrate, that we're not some kid working from home. We're a legitimate company. We have 35 plus employees. We have over 130 clients nationwide. We're not worried. That's why, if a kid's at home, right, and he's only got 3 clients, he is worried about his cost per lead and his profit margins. That's what he's worried about, right? So that doesn't translate to good business for the mortgage broker. Right? We're big enough where we could actually afford to spend double on ad spend in order to get them better results, because it may cost them $1,000 or $2,000 more upfront, but it's going to get them $30,000 to $40,000 more ROI, which is going to lead to better retention, which makes them stay with us longer. So it's an investment for us in the short term that's going to help us in the long term. Mm-hmm.
Now, the money that you spend on ad spend, is that are those leads that come into you, are those cold, or do you have any sort of digital marketing or email list, some sort of campaign that you use to identify warmer leads from that list?
So what we do is, the first thing we do is we run conversion campaigns, right? We don't run lead ads. A lot of mortgage brokers, they're like, oh, listen, I've tried marketing on Facebook. It sucks. It's like, well, what kind of ads were you running? Lead ads. All right. Well, let me explain to you the science behind that. If you're running a lead ad, right, it's cheap because Facebook keeps that lead ad on the platform, right? If you run a conversion campaign, that means you're taking them away from Facebook to your website. That's going to cost you more money, right? Yep. Because
Facebook doesn't want that.
Wants to keep users on the platform, right? So lead ads is a way to stay on the Facebook platform. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but if you ever click on an ad and it's a lead ad, it will auto-populate your name. It'll auto-populate your phone number, your email for you, so you don't even have to type it in, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to click, all you have to do is click the submit button, which makes it easier to get a lead and cheaper to get a lead. And the only problem is, by the time somebody calls you about that lead, that was a split-second commitment for you. What do you think is going to happen when somebody calls you about that lead a week later? You're probably not going to remember filling it out, right? So, we actually take a different approach. We make these leads jump through hurdles to get to you. What we do is we run a conversion campaign. From that conversion campaign, we'll take them to a survey. In that survey, they'll answer 12 plus questions about their credit score, their annual household income, how much they're looking to borrow, when they're looking to borrow, if they rent or own, if they're working with a realtor or not. Then after we take that pertinent information, we'll identify if they have good credit or not. If they have bad credit, we'll redirect them to credit repair. We'll say, hey, you're not ready to move into a home just yet. You still need to get your credit fixed. We'll fix their credit, bring it back to the mortgage broker once the credit is repaired. If they do have good credit, they simply go to a landing page with a video. It says, hey, the next step is to book a call with a mortgage broker. If they don't book on that call, it just goes to our call center and we'll follow up with them and say, hey, we have your survey results. You need to go over them with a mortgage broker. What time works best for you. Mm-hmm. And that's how we're setting these appointments. But, we're usually over delivering on these appointments. The reason we promise 30, which is probably it's the highest amount of appointments guaranteed that I've seen in the mortgage industry, is because we can easily hit 60. Like we like to under promise and over deliver. Yep. It used to be 40, but we lowered it.
That's fair. Yeah. Always over deliver. So question on Facebook ads. There were some recent changes that were made to it. Did that affect you guys at all?
Of course.
What were the changes?
The iOS 14 change. So basically Apple kind of changed the formatting of data, how they're receiving ads. So as a result, it drives the price up on Facebook. You would think that two, huge corporate giants would kind of work in continuity with each other. It's not the case. So as a result, our ad spend has increased across the board. It's increased probably like 15, 20%. So, we're working on a couple of things. If you're a digital marketer, highly recommend looking into something like Hyros. Hyros is going to pull the data correctly from Facebook and help you get your costs lower. I know a lot of my ads guys use that. There's other things that you can do. I know there's a way to manually do it, but it's a little bit, more tedious and difficult to figure out. I got somebody figuring it out right now, so I don't have to drop, $5,000 a month on Hyros.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the app that's an app called Hyros?
Yeah, it's like it's an app, I guess, like an app on your computer. Really, you don't want to do it on your phone. Okay. But it basically gives you in-depth analytics on every aspect of your ad. Okay. Way more so than you'd be able to get on Facebook.
Okay. Because I'm very interested. I know Travis is too in learning more about Facebook ads. For someone who's starting to learn about them and just getting into them, what would you say your best practices are?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned more on YouTube in 1 hour than I learned in my 4 years at college.
You sound like Gary Vee.
Yeah. Remember those, right? But it's never been easier to be an entrepreneur because there's so much access to information, right? Any of those, YouTube or Facebook ads for beginners, like all of those are going to be good. And generally it's about knowing the type of campaigns that you run. You just want, you want to do Facebook ads. Here's what you do. You watch a YouTube beginner's video, right? And then you need to come up with an offer or what the copy is, right? Because it's all about the offer. You go on Groupon, you look at the most popular offer, whichever one has been bought the most, because it'll tell you. You simply copy that offer. So you, Josh Levine Fitness, you would go on Groupon, you would see, you would go on Groupon, look up gyms and see which offer is selling the most. And then you would make an ad and offer the same exact thing. And you're going to get results from that because it's already been proven on Groupon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas if you didn't take that approach, I mean, something that I think some people just throw money into ads thinking it's going to work, but they don't have a proven template.
Which
So
is
they'll
like,
just-
yeah, buy my training.
Yeah, it's like buy my training.
Buy my training.
Just
Right,
yelling
right.
at
They don't know how to
somebody.
write copy.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Or they just don't have an offer. They're like, yeah, here's my train. Like, why is someone clicking that just because you're offering it, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
And
you're
don't
not even
know
really
if-
offering it. It just exists.
Yeah, and you don't know if that's even going to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like the Groupon idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Anytime you need an offer in an industry, just go on Groupon, and the data shows you. It literally says like on the ad, like how many people, 997 people have bought this. You know, so you can see which one's performing the best, and then just piggyback off that offer. Use the same offer.
That's a pretty good idea.
Thanks, Groupon.
Yeah, thanks, Groupon.
Thanks, Groupon.
Yeah, that's cool. So, speaking of copy, you were obviously you're very well spoken. You were in call centers for a long time. Starting off, did you do all your own copy? Did you outsource it? Have you always been a writer?
Starting off, I did all my own copy.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, there are so many networking groups out there. So, you know, we use a software called Go High Level. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. If you're not, and you're looking to get into digital marketing, if you don't have Go High Level, you are going to be outperformed by anybody who has Go High Level. So what Go High Level is it's a follow-up software. It's not so much about running ads. Anybody could run ads. Anybody could get leads. It's about the follow-up on that lead, right? So what systems do you have in place to make sure that that lead converts? So GHL, you can build out follow-up cadences via email, text message, voicemail drops, pretty much anything that you need. And you could literally set up triggers. You could build funnels within it. It's literally like the most elite marketing software out there. But here's the really cool part. If you join their Facebook group, okay, they have these things called snapshots. Okay, we have a snapshot in our agency. We designed it ourselves, but basically what it is it's an entire follow-up sequence for all of our clients, right? That's how we do text message follow-up, email drip campaigns, all of that stuff. It's already built in. The really, really cool part about Go High Level is you could go into their Facebook group, find a marketing company that's very, very successful, and pay them to buy their snapshot. And all of a sudden you have a world-class follow-up system that's, you know, already built out for you by another marketing agency that you know is already having good results. It's a plug and play.
No shit. So it sounds kind of like Active Campaign, but like a text message version. And
yeah, I'm familiar with Active Campaign. In fact, a lot of my clients use it, but it's way, way, way better.
Really?
Way more intricate. You can do way more. If you could think of it, you could do it in Go High Level.
I like the text message capability because, like, let's be real, who checks emails right now?
Right.
Yeah.
No, texting is definitely the big one. And, you know, I always talk about this because, you know, people are talking, you know, TV commercials and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not doing TV commercials.
No, dude.
You know, your phone right now, I'm a firm believer in pattern recognition, especially throughout history, right? So you look at like the 1920s and 30s, you know, everybody used to listen to the radio, right? And then around that time, the TV came around. People started transitioning from the radio to the TV, right? That same thing is happening, except the TV is now the radio and your phone is the TV. Right. So what does that make Facebook, Instagram, and Google? It makes it your Fox News, your CNN, your ABC, right? There has never been something that has more equity share in the human mind than your phone, right? Even when there was no phones around, there's no way that somebody would spend more hours watching TV, even when their phones didn't exist, than the time that they're spending on their phone right now, right? So that's so much equity that you have in their headspace that you can you know, unload on. So, you know, for us, you know, text message is huge, right? We know that people are on their phones. Look at your screen time. It'll probably freak you out.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
bad.
scary.
I mean, granted, we're in the digital market, we're in the tech space, but still, like,
Right.
It's bad. Yeah. And to your point, like, yeah, I'll be watching TV and still be looking at my phone more than the TV.
Dude,
100%. I can't get through a movie. I can't get through a movie.
No, I also don't sit still very well.
screen time is like the new body count. Like everyone's like, oh, I'm on my phone like 3 hours, you know, it's like 10.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I think it was like 9:23 last time I checked. And granted, yeah, I do a lot of work from my phone, but are you guys pretty mobile? Speaking of which, like, can you work from anywhere?
Yeah, we could work from anywhere. I do like the office component, obviously with COVID. You know, was a little worried about getting it started up. So, you know, for us, it's very easy. You know, we have an incredible demo that we do. And if you're a digital marketer, or if you're in any type of sales, you know, and you're doing phone sales right now, I can guarantee you, and I'd put $100,000 on this, that if you did a demo instead of a phone call, you would convert at a higher level. And it's not because demos are cooler or because it looks cool. It's the reason is because there's 3 different type of learners. There's audio, right? There's auditory, there's visual, and there's kinesthetic. A demo addresses all 3, right? So, you know, when we started doing demos at Lincrest, I mean, it drastically improved our conversion rate, drastically. It's like night and day. But the problem was, when people are working from home, it's really hard to train them, right? It's hard to train them. If they're in an office with me, I'm in my conference room right now, but if I go out to, you know, to the floor, you know, I can simply walk past somebody, listen to what they're saying and saying, hey, next time say this, right? But if they're doing their demos all remote from home, I would have to go back, look at the recording, and watch 40 minutes of a demo to identify what's wrong.
How do you guys do demos? Is it like, are you talking about you have like a rep that's doing a demo of like your process with them to show your client, 100%. This is how we do it?
100%. Right now, like, look, we get sales easy because our offer is so good and nobody else offers what we offer in the space.
Yeah.
So 90% of the people that we speak to, they're like, hey, you know, I've never heard of anything like this before. Really excited about this. So I know that we talk about the blue ocean strategy, right? That's what it's all about. But as far as from a demo standpoint, you know, we're trying to make sure that we're setting the proper expectations, right? Because we know we could sell them. We have 130 plus customers. Now what I'm working on with my salesman is, hey, don't oversell. Don't ever oversell it. Set the proper expectations, because now, you know, what I'm worried about is how many support emails I'm getting a day, right? How are we going to improve retention? How are we going to keep them reaching out to us to a minimum? We want to keep them happy. That's how we do that, right? So if you're setting the proper, the wrong expectations, like, oh, you know, these leads are going to be ready to go right away. Well, that's not necessarily true, and we have no control over that. So don't say that, you know. So things like that, right? You know, we want to be careful with the way they sell. If they're overselling, if anything, I you know, we try and practice all the time, under promise and over deliver. That's what's going to keep them as a client. I don't need them as a client for 1 month. I need them as a client. Well, we have 90-day agreements, but you know, retention is the most important thing to me right now.
Oh,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah,
always should be.
Right.
Yeah, it's much cheaper to keep a client.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. You've grown really, really fast, and you're up to, you said, $500,000 a month.
Right.
At what point do you feel, and if you've even gotten there yet, that you've shifted from like growth to limiting your fuck ups, for lack of a better term?
At what point?
Like, are you still focused on growing and growing the business, getting new clients?
Both. We're doing both. So,
yeah.
You know, do you guys know who Judge Graham is?
I don't think so.
So Judge Graham, he's a guy, you know, I've been talking to him. He's sold 2 companies. I think one of them for like 52 million, the other one for like 100 million or something. Right. And what he said to me is, if you don't have an end game, a plan to exit, then you don't have a real company. You have a job that you created yourself. Right. So for me, my main goal has always been to fire myself. And I can't fire myself without having proper systems and processes in place so that the company could run without me. It can grow without me. It can be sustainable without me. Like I write, and it's funny, like a lot of my employees, they joke around like, you know, very like, oh, you're the Wolf of Wall Street. They say that because I basically created this pitch, this demo, and the script. And I said, if you say this verbatim, you can sell, right? If you say this exactly how it's typed, you will sell this product. And what I was doing is I was taking people with no sales experience and having them sell $15,000 packages on their first and second day. That's how good the demo is, right? It's a fantastic demo, goes in depth. We try and make it educational for them. But all they have to do is just repeat it verbatim. It's spoon fed to them. So that's part of the processes. And now what I'm doing is building out rebuttals to complaints, right? Like, all right, so if somebody complains about timeline, we need to walk them through like, all right, listen, because they'll say, oh, I've been a mortgage broker for 10 years. So it's like, that's great. Let me explain to you how digital marketing works though. And why timeline is something that we can't eliminate from, you know what I mean? We can't weed out all the people unless you want to pay like $50,000 a lead. It's just not possible, right? And we'll go into that and walk them through the technical stuff of why it's impossible to do that and why not only we can't do it, but other companies can't do it either, right? So now we're going through those SOPs like, all right, so what are the most common complaints or support tickets that we have and how do we handle them, right? How do we handle them from a technical standpoint? How do we handle them from a conversation standpoint? Hey, listen, I can't do that for you, but here's what I can do for you. So we're building out all those SOPs now because before that, I was just taking all those calls myself because I was the only person who can. So now, I got to train my support guys to take those calls and be comfortable taking those calls, build cheat sheets for everybody. When they say this, say this. When they do this, do this. So really, really breaking down all the intricacies of my business and I'm trying to clone myself like 10 times over so that, I don't need to have these conversations with people to get our points across and help us with client retention.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you feel like you're building out all these processes and sharing this information to, like you said, clone yourself? Do you feel like your ability to be successful in this regard in sales, in digital marketing, do you feel like it comes pretty naturally to you? Was it difficult? What I'm asking is like, was it difficult to be able to put into words and create templates to teach people that?
No, I'd say if I have one superpower, it's that it's writing really? Sales scripts. Mm-hmm. And people ask me all the time, from a marketing standpoint or people in GHL, Facebook or whatever, why isn't this working for me? I think I had a little bit of an advantage. I'm 33 years old. I started this company when I was 32 years old. I already had a ton of experience professionally. I already had success professionally. So I think I came from a different place than a lot of these kids. They're young kids who try and start their own agencies because most people my age, they're too scared to stop what they're doing and start something completely new. For me, I've always been trying to start businesses my whole life. Before this, I was involved with a production company called West 54, and we had a Instagram pop-up exhibit called Tacotopia. And basically, what happened is they needed an investor. And they said, hey, Alex, if you find somebody to invest in our company, we need $250,000. We'll give them 25%. And if you find that person, we'll give you 10% equity. Okay. So I had a friend who had money. I thought I got him in. And then at the end, he got cold feet. Right. So, I was kind of like, damn, I really want equity in this company. This is a great opportunity. So I thought, all right, so what it was an Instagram pop-up exhibit. Are you guys familiar with the Museum of Ice Cream?
No.
Mm-mm. Like, have you guys seen those like experiential marketing things on Instagram?
Yeah. What's the other one? The big one that was
there's so many of them out now.
Yeah.
So this one was called Tacotopia. It was on the Santa Monica Promenade. And, I quickly realized, I'm like, hey, all of these brands, they are paying to be sponsored at these festivals, right? And the reason they're paying to be sponsored at these festivals is because people take pictures at these festivals, right? This is a 3-day event. Those Instagram pop-up exhibits are a 3-month event, right? And people are going there to take pictures for Instagram. What's better than paid media, free media, right? Organic. So after I realized that, the investor dropped out, I cold called Pepsi and I cold called Cholula and 3 calls each. And this is a true story. I got them to invest $250,000 and I kept the 25% equity for myself. They just wanted to put their name on it. They just wanted to put their name on the exhibits. So we got the money raised to actually do it. We ended up raising like $600,000. We were on the Santa Monica Promenade in LA. We had a few mishaps. For example, our ads weren't performing well. And when that happened, I cold called Gary Vee's partner, Ryan Harwood. and got them interested in equity in Tacotopia because they were looking to get into the experiential space. So we started running a test with them, and then the pandemic happened. So that whole company just kind of like fell apart, and that's how I got into Lincrest. But the point that I'm trying to make is I'll get on the phone with anybody, and I feel like I belong there. You know what I mean? Like I'm not intimidated by cold calling Pepsi and asking them to give me $250,000. Like I don't get intimidated by that stuff, but a lot of other entrepreneurs do. They have like kind of like an anxiety threshold that they don't want to cross over. For me, I don't have that. Like I don't get anxious over that stuff. I'll cold call, anyone. It doesn't matter who it is.
And you grew up cold calling, you said, right?
Yeah. First job when I was 15 years old was cold calling.
It's brutal.
So do you think that that's all just experience, or do you think that that's your personality as well?
Yeah, I know. I think it definitely has to do with experience. And the reason for that is, and to kind of piggyback off my last point about like, listen, why I said, hey, I'm taking people off the street and and they're selling 15K packages. That's a high ticket product. Okay. It took me years to get the confidence to be able to sell high ticket products. It takes most people like years of experience before they can feel comfortable enough to ask for that type of money over the phone. Right. So that's why I'm like, dude, look at these kids. They have no sales experience and they're coming right in and they're selling 15 grand products, 18 grand products. This kid that works for me, his name is Hussein. I'm so proud of him. This is his first sales job. The other week, he sold a 40K a month product.
Wow.
40K a month for our business and no sales experience. He was doing HVAC before us.
No shit.
Well, you've got a good system and then you've got a good product and
a great offer.
And a great offer.
Great
and
offer is very
customers
important.
that need it. You know what I mean? Like real estate's hot right now. Everyone needs to be like making their money and it's competitive. Like why would they not get a leg up with one of the, with someone who's going to get them results? Like that's a no brainer.
Yeah.
Like they're going to make their money. You know what I mean? They just need you to help them make more. Like, why not?
Right. And people always ask me this. They're like, hey, like, there's always the devil's advocate people or the people who, even my own friends are like, yeah, listen, it's going great now, but what are you going to do if the housing market turns? The housing market is so up and down. I'm like, dude, I started this business in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
When there was more uncertainty than any time in like recent history. Like, I'm not worried about the housing market. If anything, if you believe the recession's happening, then you need to double your sales, and you can't do that without automation.
And that attitude of like,
so sorry.
What are you going to do if this happens? What are you going to do if that happens? Like that never ends. What are you going to do about this? Dude. What are you going to do about that? And then all of a sudden you're 90 and you're dead. Yeah. Like, what do you mean, dude? Like if you run into that, then you'll deal with it. Like,
and most of the people who say that are just not entrepreneurs.
Exactly. No. But you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, nobody does.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, Travis and I, we started our business in the middle of COVID too.
Yeah.
Bought houses in the middle of COVID too. People are like, what are you doing? Like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
First movers.
Yeah.
There's first movers, then there's followers, and then there's, the general public who needs to see everybody else go first to make sure it's safe.
Make sure it's safe.
Jump in. Those people almost never get ahead.
No. But I mean, there's the 9-to-5ers and we need those people.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thought of starting cold calling, I'm still up on this because my first job out of college was I was in cold sales. I worked for WB Mason, if you're familiar. And
I think I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're Northeast, and it was business to business sales, and I was going door to door from business to business, not residential, but selling office supplies, office products, anything you could possibly use in an office. And dude, it built such thick skin. Like I got told to fuck off and that they were going to call the police and like all the worst shit you wouldn't say to another human being.
You ever tried door to door?
That's what I was doing.
Door to door. Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
I did as well.
Like in my face. Yeah.
Yeah. But did you ever have a phone job after door to door? Like post?
No, I mean, I've always been in sales, but I've never done cold call sales.
Okay.
Right after that, I went into, I was like, warm leads is the way to go.
Right. Well, and then that must have been so much easier for you, because I remember my first job when I was 15 years old was cold calling, but I wasn't even selling anything. I was asking for donations.
Oh, shit.
That was my first job. Then after that, I did door-to-door sales. And then I went back to a call center cold calling. And when I got to the call center, I'm like, this is so nice. It's so much easier. I don't have to get screamed at face to face. At least they're doing it over the phone. This is way easier.
Yeah, you can hang up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does build thick skin, and it like, I'm not surprised after hearing that you've been in cold calling since you were 15 that you're not afraid to cold call Pepsi and Cholula.
Right.
Because what's the worst that happens?
They say no.
They say no. Maybe they tell you to fuck off. Like, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a valuable lesson. Now, if somebody hasn't gone through that, like your salespeople, obviously they have you to help them through like a really challenging process of getting good at sales. You're giving them the blueprint to being good at sales. For people who don't have that, for people who haven't been in cold calling, who are afraid to make that jump, whether it's starting a business, making a call, what advice do you have for those people?
My advice, like if they want to start from scratch, I would say do door-to-door sales. Get that thick skin.
For real,
because it'll make cold calling a breeze for you.
Yeah.
It'll make cold calling an absolute breeze.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my first advice. The other thing is, I believe in the solution selling methodology. So, asking the right questions. Why are we on the call today? What are you trying to accomplish? What are your pains? Identifying those pains and then giving them a solution to those pains.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Identifying pain points and then referring back to them is really valuable.
100%.
Especially when you have a good offer and you have those pain points now and you say, okay, well, if I just did this one thing, fix this one pain point, show you the possibility, would that be worth your money?
Right.
You do that enough times and they're like, okay, fine, take my money. Like, here's my credit card.
Right.
Now, are you trained in NLP or anything like that? Or have you just like read faces?
Neuro-linguistic programming?
Yeah.
My mother is actually a certified NLP practitioner. She's walked me through a few of those things. I know a little bit about it from her. Mm-hmm. I've let her kind of like do her thing on me, whatever that is. Right. Walk me through like my timeline and things like that. So she's really into that. And she it felt like it was helpful from a standpoint of like, ridding me of my baggage, mentally, emotionally. Obviously it's much harder when you're talking to your mom. You can't exactly tell her about all the baggage, but I also went to go see a guy named Dr. George Pratt. Okay. This guy, he does the same thing. It was really weird. He gave me these I told him like, hey, he literally would feel my arm and like push it down. And he'd be like, did something happen to you in March of 2019?
No way.
What happened to you? You were really stressed out. Yeah, I swear to you. So the reason I went to him is because this guy named Jeremy Haynes. Jeremy Haynes did all the marketing for Grant Cardone. He's really, really talented digital marketer. He does all the Facebook ads for Dan Locke. He's a mentor of mine. And he told me to go to this guy, Dr. George Pratt. He's like, I go to him quarterly. The guys who go to Dr. George Pratt, Larry King, a bunch of NFL players, people in the White House. And like basically what he does is he just makes you optimally perform. Look up Rob Dyrdek, Dr. George Pratt. Rob Dyrdek literally attributes his success to getting hypnotized by Dr. George Pratt.
No shit. And he's a legend.
And here's what I will say. When I met Dr. George Pratt, I was at $0.
No shit. Where's this
so
guy?
I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
We got to find him.
Yeah, I got to find this guy.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I'd like to think that it doesn't have anything to, I'd like to think
yeah. It's a little woo-woo, but
yeah. I will say, I can't put my finger on what exact. I thought I turned my phone on airplane mode. Sorry about that, guys. I'm so sorry. Turning it off. Wasn't 100% sure. But I mean, hey, I figured whether this works or not, the fact that I'm paying $900 is going to light a fire under my ass to make sure I get an ROI.
Yeah.
It's only $900.
Yep.
That's a pretty cheap investment.
I think he has two. One of them is like 900 and the other one's like 600 for like a half hour. I flew into San Diego to go see him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flew in.
I would heavily consider that.
Yeah. He's an awesome guy. Really nice guy. Like I said, he's good friends with, Larry King. I guess he passed away, but he was good friends with Larry King. He's seen a bunch of guys. I think when I was there, like one of the players from the Jets were over there. They like flew in from New York to go see him. So like what he does is like, he gets rid of like your past traumas, because your past traumas apparently are what block you or stop your psyche from letting you be successful, right? You ever have those moments where you're like, I really want that, but you know, for some reason you just can't let yourself have it. So, you know, that's really like the mindset, or, you know, the thing that he focuses on. And he made me do these breathing exercises and stuff. And I don't know, it was cool, but, you know, like I said, not sure if it works, but hey, what's the freaking harm in it?
Yeah. Yeah. What's the worst thing that happens?
Even if it is placebo, if it eliminates your insecurities, then you're more confident.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a sugar pill or not.
Like, oh, it works. I'm good to go.
Yeah. I don't care if it's a sugar pill or not. If it works,
right?
It's
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And being willing to invest in yourself like that.
That is another thing that, you know, like you said, you know, what advice do you have for people starting out? There's so many people out there that will buy tickets to a concert, buy their Gucci shoes, buy their shirts. Listen, I love buying all that stuff, but I can justify it because I also invest heavily into myself. When I first started Lincrest, you know, I had the failed company in Tacotopia. I think I had $2,000 left in my bank account. I spent it on a course.
Yeah. And well, I want you to go into this a little bit more, because I mean, I have a business coach. Travis and I have both, obviously we invest a lot in ourselves, and people think we're fucking crazy for the amount of money that we invest in ourselves. Dude, it's not a bet. It's not a gamble.
I've wagered way more than what I'm betting on myself.
But all you have to do is execute.
Right.
So if you invest in a course, well, okay, cool. All you have to do is execute. Like that's not a gamble. It's not a bet. I think people have trouble seeing it that way.
And then all those courses get bad names because somebody will take a course and then they won't do shit.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
They'll just sit, you know, they won't put anything into action, and then they blame the course. Yeah. It's the same thing, you know, with some of our clients. We'll literally show them like, hey, you're doing this wrong. You know, you're doing this, like painfully obvious things. You have to know it's never their fault. It's always your fault.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which sucks. as a coach,
you guys are probably actually like, you guys have very similar probably pains, because like Josh is the same way. Like he's selling a program to get you fit, but he can't get you fit.
No,
you have to get you fit.
You can't force these people to go to the gym every day.
No, I can lead you to water. I can't make you drink it.
Exactly.
You know, if you don't want to stop drinking alcohol every weekend, if you don't want to like actually get to bed on time, if you don't want to do all these little things, and like, dude, I'm not going to tell you good job. I'm not very sympathetic. I'm empathetic as fuck, but like, yeah, you can be better.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. You talked about optimizing yourself. Like this is a massive part of it.
And that's exactly, you know, why we've evolved into the type of company that we are, right? It's like, hey, you know, we can't say to these mortgage brokers, are you making the calls? They're going to get pissed off. Why don't we just make the calls for them? Wipe their asses, you know, like
make it easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Make it as easy as possible for them. And yeah, I just remembered you bootstrapped it, didn't you?
Bootstrap, no investment.
Fucking insane. In 11 months. That's pretty wild.
In 11 months.
So what's next? You want an exit.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to scale to $1 million a month. And once we do that, you know, we're already starting to build IP. You know, we want to build our own software to hit those multipliers. I'm reading like 5 books at once right now about private equity playbook, how to build multipliers in your business, how to do this, how to do that. So, you know, everything that we do, so, you know, something may solve our problem short term, but I literally won't do it, even if it causes me a headache, if it interferes with the way we're structuring our business in order to exit. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's my end game is an exit. I'd like to exit. And, you I could do this. I could replicate this in any industry. Doesn't necessarily have to be mortgage. We could do this just as well in any other industry. So, after that, I don't think I'll ever retire. I'll just have a new hobby. I don't consider this like a job. I love doing this. I live for this shit, so this is fun to me.
Yeah.
I don't consider it work.
That was actually one of my questions is when Travis and I were talking about Lincrest and, we were looking at the webpage and I was like, I feel like this can apply to more industries. What made you pick the mortgage industry and what would you pick next?
So the reason I picked the mortgage industry was I actually used to work for this guy named Zach Barada. And I did that because the course told me, hey, you don't need to, and this is what a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand. So for example, you, Josh, in order to provide value to you, I don't need to directly provide that value. I can outsource that value. Right. So like with Audi, for example, do you guys know who Josh Snow is?
No.
Snow teeth whitening. You might have seen Floyd Mayweather with it or Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah. Okay.
So Josh Snow is the owner of Snow Teeth Whitening. He built this e-commerce company to 100 million. And I noticed that he was getting a bunch of athletes to advertise his product. Now, Audi is the CEO of Paradigm. They represent a ton of athletes. Doesn't matter what sport, they represent a ton of them. So I knew that Josh was using an agency to find these influencers or athletes and he was paying the agency a fee to find these athletes to advertise his product. I thought, all right, Audi needs a way to bring his athletes deals and put food on the table for their families. Josh is paying a premium using an agency. Why don't I just bring them right to the source, cut out the middleman, and they both save money. For Audi, it's a way for him to feed his fighters and athletes. For Josh, it's a way to get wholesale pricing, right? I'm valuable to Audi because of that. I didn't provide any value. What did I do myself? Josh just providing the value. I'm just connecting them to, right? Mm-hmm. So being able to outsource that value and being able to recognize opportunities to where you can outsource that value make you that much more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your question before that? I went off.
No, that's all good. That was actually really valuable. My question was, well, the first one was how you how you chose the mortgage industry. Right. But then what would you choose next?
I'd have to really think about that. I would want to do something fun. I'm a big MMA fan, maybe MMA gyms. That'd be a fun little niche. I think I could crush that, especially with the connections that we have. Mm-hmm. But from a mortgage standpoint, to answer your question, listen, if you want to learn how to run a marketing company, go work for one. So I did. I went to work for this guy named Zach Barada. He was doing mortgages. I looked, I was doing sales for him. I realized there's a market for it. Noticed there's a few things he was doing and thought, I could do that a little bit better. I think I can do it a little bit better. We've evolved our entire system. It's so complex. And Zach, being the gracious guy that he is, he didn't have a problem with it. He's like, hey, there's enough business here for both of us. He's not, and we keep in touch. It's a healthy competition. I mean, I've far surpassed him from a growth rate standpoint, but he's happy for me, and if one of my guys learns and decides they want to do it on their own, I'd like to empower them and enable them to do that on their own and help them get there. I don't want to, tear anybody. So for example, my younger brother, and this is how I know I've thought about getting into coaching. I don't really have time right now. But I've thought about getting into coaching because I was able to actually hand the entire blueprint of my business to my younger brother. I would have liked him to work for me, but he's got a little competition thing with me. He doesn't want to, he would never work for me. So, why do people get wealthy? People get wealthy to take care of their families, right? I figured out a way to take care of my family before I got wealthy. I said, listen, I know I have this process, this business, this system that makes a bunch of money. I'll give you everything. I'll give you the follow-up. I'll give you the pitch. You can start your own business. Within 6 months, he hit 100K a month.
Damn. In what industry is that?
Same exact industry, man.
Really?
I gave him the exact playbook. And part of it comes back and bites me in the ass sometimes. They're like, I just got on a demo with somebody and they said, you have the same exact script as Auto Nurture, which is my brother's company. And I'm like, yeah, because we made the script.
Yeah. Now that right there, that's abundance mentality at its finest. Like, you're not going to find a super successful entrepreneur who's scarcity minded.
Right.
Yeah.
And
there's enough to go around.
The only thing better than coming up is coming up with the people that you care about and love. And like,
facts.
Like you said, you can feed them a fish, right? But if you teach them how to fish, now I know he's set for life. He has a skill. He knows how to implement it. He knows all the processes, all the systems that if he lost his business tomorrow, he'd be able to rebuild it in 3 months right where it is. So he's set for life. And I was able to take care of him and set him up for life before I was even wealthy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's something that was really, really cool for me. Yeah,
that's valuable, man. It's really cool. You have a really cool story. I'm glad we got to hear a little bit about it. I'm sure there's a lot more, but I had a lot of valuable takeaways from this. I really appreciate your time, man.
Good. I appreciate you guys. And again, sorry about missing that first one, man.
Hey,
it's all good.
It's all good, man. Look, obviously, we have a lot of people in the space. I know, especially with Travis, we might have some connections who are interested in learning more about you, Lincrest. Give yourself the plug. Where can people find you? Let us know where you're at.
Yeah. So just go to www.lincrestmedia.com. That's going to give you just pretty much a 360 view of our business and what we do. Or you could just go on YouTube and type in Lincrest Media. You'll be able to see testimonials. You'll be able to see myself talking about our service pretty much in depth. If you don't have time for a demo with one of our sales reps, just go on YouTube and catch one of the demos there. You'll be able to get a good understanding of our business.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, I definitely appreciate it again. I'd like to keep in touch, and I think a lot of our listeners are going to find a lot of value from this. I know I did. So for everybody who has tuned in to another episode of the Struggle to Strength podcast, thank you, Alex. We will see y'all next week.